Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope you're all having a fantastic day. Before we begin, please make sure to hit the subscribe button. Life has a way of shifting in an instant. A single moment is all it takes. Envision getting a medical update so profound it redirects your entire future. Now, picture yourself and your partner watching a live broadcast with tears in your eyes. The world woke up to exactly that. Millions were moved by Kelly Ripa's raw openness at his side as her emotions met Mark Consuelos' life-changing health news. Today, we are going to look behind the headlines of that moment, how the news surfaced, how their world was shaken, and how devotion can still overcome uncertainty. When a life is drastically altered, what does it take to stay unified? Stay tuned, because your definition of strength might be transformed by what is revealed. Beyond the screen. To truly grasp the impact of this news, we must first look at Mark Consuelos beyond his television persona. For decades, Mark has been celebrated as a magnetic star, versatile, charming, and commanding. Yet beneath the fame are the roles of husband, father, and friend. He is a man who smiled for the cameras while likely navigating his own private doubts, hopes, and concerns. We have always admired his stability and the way he anchored his family. However, the very traits that make someone appear unbreakable often hide the depth of their private struggles. The contrast of a strong man facing such fragility is what makes this news sting so deeply. From speculation to reality. Whispers had been spreading, speculation and hushed, concerned glances, but they weren't facts. The official declarations shifted everything. Mark was faced with a definitive diagnosis that was neither a rumor nor a delay. The statements were enough to trigger ripples of alarm, even with the family's request for privacy. While they didn't, and likely couldn't, disclose every detail, the situation was described as serious and transformative. Within hours, the news saturated the media. Social platforms erupted. The man who guided us through breakfast and shared laughs with his family was now facing an uncertain horizon. This is the point where theory turns to reality, and as observers, we can only watch with heavy hearts. A public display of love. When the full weight of the situation hit, Kelly Ripa did what anyone would do. She wept. She didn't cry for public approval, but for the deep bond she shares with her spouse and the life they built together. We saw her composure slip during broadcasts, her voice trembling and eyes welling up. This vulnerability was startling from someone known for her wit and upbeat energy. She grieved for the past and feared for the future, praying for the strength to support Mark through whatever comes next. Navigating the unknown. A life-altering diagnosis carries immense weight. It suggests a significant medical journey, perhaps a chronic condition or a serious illness that ensures nothing will remain the same. Rather than speculating on the specifics, we must respect the gravity of their medical reality. These paths often involve grueling treatments and a level of uncertainty that colors every day. Mark may face physical challenges that shift his identity as a performer and a provider, yet many find an unforeseen power in the midst of such storms. A shared journey. This isn't just a physical battle, it is a test of the spirit. Mark and Kelly must now navigate a landscape of hope, anxiety, and occasional exhaustion. We think of the quiet evenings where one might wonder, will I be enough? Kelly faces the heartache of watching a loved one suffer while trying to remain a pillar of support. Their story reached a peak during a heartbreaking moment on Live with Kelly and Mark. The usual light-hearted banter was replaced by a somber disclosure. Kelly's typically polished exterior gave way to unfiltered emotion as she shared that Mark's health had necessitated major adjustments to their lives. As the world held its breath, waiting for the specifics of the diagnosis that had brought a daytime icon to tears, the true revelation began to emerge. In the high-stakes world of celebrity, strength is often equated with a lack of suffering, a polished veneer that never cracks. But the revelation Mark and Kelly offered was something entirely different. That true strength lies in the courage to be fragile and the wisdom to act before a crisis becomes a
life-altering
catastrophe.
nature of the news was not found in a terminal sentence, but in a fundamental shift in perspective. For Mark, the diagnosis was a wake-up call regarding the silent battles we often ignore in the name of muscling through. Whether it was the realization of a physical limitation or the results of a high-stakes medical screening, the moment changed the way they viewed their time together. It became a mission, a public declaration that even the most imposing among us are not exempt from the realities of the human body. A mission born of vulnerability. The impact on the audience was immediate and transformative. Following the broadcast, medical clinics across the country reported a Consuelos effect, a surge in individuals scheduling long overdue checkups and screenings. By choosing to share their private anxiety, Mark and Kelly turned a moment of potential despair into a national conversation about preventative health and the fear of finding out. Kelly's tears were not just for the immediate health news, but for the collective weight of every family facing the unknown. She spoke of the invisible labor of being a caregiver, the mental gymnastics of staying positive for your partner while your own heart is racing at midnight. The revelation for many viewers was that they weren't alone in their fear. The couple's transparency demystified the sterile walls of the doctor's office, replacing clinical coldness with the warmth of a husband and wife holding hands in the face of uncertainty. The new chapter, resilience in action. As they navigated the weeks following the disclosure, the narrative shifted from what is wrong to how do we heal. This period marked a transition in their public persona. They were no longer just the upbeat hosts of morning television. They became the faces of resilience. Mark's journey through treatment and recovery, whether physical therapy for a debilitating injury or lifestyle adjustments for a chronic condition, was documented not with the gloss of a Hollywood production, but with the grit of real life. He spoke candidly about the ego death that comes with being a strong man who suddenly needs help to perform basic tasks. He shared the frustrations of a body that doesn't always follow the mind's commands, and in doing so, he gave permission to millions of men to acknowledge their own vulnerabilities. The spiritual and emotional toll. Behind the scenes, the couple's soul-shaking landscape became a place of profound spiritual growth. They spoke of emotionally charged silences where words were no longer necessary. In those quiet moments, the revelation was simple. Life is fragile, and the only thing we truly possess is the present. The strain of public life, usually a source of energy for the duo, was recalibrated. They leaned into their community, finding that the support they had given to fans for years was now being returned tenfold. The media, often predatory in moments of celebrity crisis, found themselves softened by the couple's sheer honesty. It is difficult to manufacture a scandal when the subjects are standing in the light, speaking the truth. The legacy of the moment. What does it take to remain united when the world is shaking? As this chapter of their lives shows, it takes more than just love. It takes a relentless commitment to the truth. Mark and Kelly's story serves as a testament to the idea that a grave diagnosis doesn't have to be the end of a story. It can be the beginning of a deeper, more meaningful one. The revelation that changed everyone's understanding of strength was this: being unbreakable is a myth. The truly strong are those who allow themselves to be broken and then have the courage to pick up the pieces and build something new. As Mark and Kelly continue their walk through this unfamiliar terrain, they do so not as victims of circumstance, but as architects of a new kind of bravery. The world continues to watch, not out of a sense of morbid curiosity, but out of a shared sense of hope.
Because if the strongest guy in the room can face his frailty and come out the other side with his heart and his family intact, then perhaps there is hope for the rest of us too.